You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the Outspoken Sportscast. This is your host, Brian. We got your host, Jeff, on the line this week as well.
Hello.
We wanted to jump on here and do an episode here, but I wanted to let you guys know we're going to start coming at you with 2 episodes a week. So Tuesdays, I'll jump on Ryan solo, just going over the previous NFL week, and then we'll jump on usually Fridays and give you our normal podcast show with me and Jeff on. So look forward to that. More content coming out. We got an interesting show today. We got your spotlight, your headlines, and your top 5 games, of course, of the week and what's in our locker. So let's go ahead and jump into that spotlight of the week. All right, Jeff. Well, the first week of the NFL has come and it has gone. So we have got what you called overreactions. There's a bunch of overreactions for week 1 in the NFL, and it tends to happen. So I wanted to go through a little bit of the kind of the headline overreactions that are the major overreactions that I thought were majors, and we can kind of just see if we believe them and think, figure out what we think about those. So number 1 is probably the one that I've heard the most is Aaron Rodgers, after getting stomped by the Saints 38-3, he had such a bad game. Aaron Rodgers, Jeff, is apparently tanking so he can get traded. He doesn't want to be here anymore, which we know he might not want to be here. But do you think that is actually happening after one game in the NFL?
No, I don't think that's the case. It seems odd. I mean, you could have an issue where maybe players are frustrated with how he acted in the offseason. There is a possibility of maybe that was like a, getting back at you kind of game. I could see something like that maybe happening just because it was so odd. It's a weird game for them to only score 3 points. I think the players like Rodgers a lot, so I think it would be hard to assume that he's doing it, but I could see a potential where maybe some of the players, not all the players, but some of the players are like, you know what? Okay, you didn't want to come back here. You were kind of beating around the bush. You were, trying to hold out. You were trying to do all these things, and it's like, maybe some of the players were like, we'll just give you a taste of your own medicine, and maybe we won't play as well. Maybe we won't try as hard. So maybe I could see something like that. I mean, you in the movie Any Given Sunday, you kind of saw that. So he kept getting sacked.
Yeah.
It's I don't think it's anything to be worried about. I think it's one game. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's not like he's had. This is probably one of the worst games I've seen statistically. Score wise too. It's pretty bad. But I don't think that this is a reoccurring thing. I think next week they're going to shut it down, or this coming week they're going to shut it down and go back to their ways of winning. So no, I don't think he's thinking to get traded, because it's like it doesn't make any sense for him, and it doesn't make any sense for them either. So it's kind of a lose-lose thing. So it's like you're kind of doing that to then have teams second guess trading you, which you may end up not going where you want to be, and then the team that you have isn't going to get anything for it as well. So you're kind of, it's a lose-lose thing.
Look, if Aaron, first of all, if the Packers didn't trade Aaron Rodgers in the offseason, they're not going to trade him in the middle of this season. It doesn't make any sense. It also doesn't make any sense. Go ahead.
A lot of people are making a big deal because they're like, oh, he got benched for Love. And I'm like,
no,
it was over. The game was over. You're not going to risk injury. Are you serious? We've seen this before. Even if, okay, let's say it was a blowout and then it was the other way around. No one's going to think anything if they take Rodgers out, put Love in.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, too. It's a blowout. People are going to blow this out of proportion. And they benched Aaron Rodgers for Jordan Love and all this stuff, right? Look, Aaron Rodgers, first of all, it makes no sense of him to come in here and just be bad for 1 year. He loses all his credibility of trade value, right? He why would he tank and look bad just so to get back to the Packers? Doesn't make any sense. This isn't revenge tour on Green Bay and he's just going to bounce after this year. I think he is gone at the end of the season. We've never kind of seen this lame duck kind of quarterback before where, fight for one more year, but after this, he's not into the team anymore. But it was Russ. Aaron Rodgers hasn't played football since last season. He didn't go to OTAs, didn't know any offseason practices. He jumped in against a good head coach and a really good defense. The Saints were top 10 last year. Jameis Winston, I think a lot of people gave up on too soon. He can throw the ball. My main worry is our defense. I know Aaron Rodgers will get back on track. The defense was pathetic. Now the offense didn't put him in good spots. But to think after one game that Aaron Rodgers is tanking and that they benched him to put Jordan Love in because he was bad is dumb. They put Jordan Love in because there was no point of having Aaron Rodgers get hurt out there when they're getting blown out that bad. So it was week 1. That was one of the major overreactions of the NFL week 1, and it was a bad one. I'm like, come on, guys, this is just ridiculous. And I do think some of the drama over the offseason will have an effect inside that locker room, but not to the point where they're going to start losing games 38-3 each week and just look pathetic. There's too much talent and too much pride on this team, and our head coach has been fantastic. This is his worst loss for Green Bay, and we tend to have those games where we'll just look bad. But I got 2 hopes. I got 3 little hopes stats for you. Okay, last year, Tampa Bay got blown out by the Saints 38-3 and went on to win the Super Bowl. Well, okay, we just got blown out 38-3 and by the Saints, so that's some good luck, right? I guess. And then you look at Aaron Rodgers. The last time he's thrown 2 interceptions in week 1, Jeff, they went on to win the Super Bowl. Well, he threw 2 interceptions against the Saints. So, and then after a big blowout loss like this, a big blowout, Aaron Rodgers has come back in the next week and thrown for 4 touchdown passes. So I think we will be okay.
Yeah, and one last thing I wanted to point out too. Anybody out there who really does think that this is happening, here's the deal. Okay, a lot of the players that are on this team are in contract years. They cannot afford to be playing like dog trash. Okay, like come on, they cannot afford it. So it's like some of these players are looking to get paid in the off season or sign some kind of deal or whatever. They're not going to risk their statistics because of Aaron Rodgers. I just don't think it's going to happen. I mean, aren't some of these guys coming up on some kind of deal? Some of the players on the Packers.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's nonsense. And that's what a lot of these, as we get into some more here, are. That's what they are, as they're overreactions and they're ridiculous. And so our next one here is, Trevor Lawrence. They lost game 1 to the Houston Texans. He had 3 interceptions. Next one I hear is Trevor Lawrence is already not as good as they said he would be and not worth his pick after week 1 loss. And I think, obviously, big overreaction. When you draft players, you got to give them some time, right? Obviously. But, Trevor Lawrence has the number 1 draft pick, right? So when you're the number 1 draft pick, you have more pressure put on you by far than other picks. And Trevor Lawrence, coming out of college, has had the comparisons of the next Peyton Manning. So he has a lot of pressure to do good. And, look, Peyton Manning wasn't great his first year. Troy Aikman wasn't great his first year. There's been greats that struggle at times starting off. Look at the team he's on. You got to throw that out there, too. He's on Jacksonville with a brand-new head coach that's trying to get used to the NFL life. He threw for over 300 yards. He had 3 touchdown passes. They get blown out by the Houston Texans, who aren't supposed to be a very good team this year. But I think it's, relax. You got to give Trevor Lawrence some time to play, and Urban Meyer must run the football. He had one of the best backs in the NFL last year and only handed off the ball like 12 times. So he's putting a lot of pressure on Trevor Lawrence to throw the ball way too often. But got to give this guy some time.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't make any sense. It's one game. We don't have multiple. We don't even have a full season to go off of him in the NFL to really make a judgment. It's the same thing, that people were saying about Dak Prescott and stuff like that too. So it's just kind of like, we don't know yet. Just continue to see it happen and unfold, and the longer he's in the NFL, the more we'll know in like about a 4-year span what kind of quarterback this is. But yeah, like after that, this team picked him first for a reason.
Right.
Like, let's not
they
ignore
could be
that.
picking first again next season. So
possibly, yeah. Like, so it's not like he's going to be the savior of this team and completely, take them to the Super Bowl this year. Like, come on now. Like, don't be ridiculous. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some with him. It all depends on who's the matchup is. And coming up this week, they don't really have a great matchup going up against the Denver defense. So it's just, you're going to have moments where Trevor Lawrence is going to be like, wow, what an amazing. But as these pieces start coming in, as these picks start coming in, as they start getting some free agents in there as well, when it becomes exciting to be playing with the Jacksonville Jaguars because of him, that's when all the pieces are going to fall into place, and we'll know.
right.
Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. Same ordeal.
So Jeff, let me tell you what, and I feel bad for Jacksonville because if they don't beat Denver Broncos this week, here's what they got coming following. They got the Cardinals, they got the Bengals, they've got Tennessee, they've got the Seattle Seahawks, they got the Buffalo Bills, they got the 49ers, they got the Rams. Yeah, I don't see them winning for a long time. They play Atlanta. That might be their first win. The Colts might be, or even the Texans again. But
I think the Bengals game might be closer than anyone thinks.
Might be.
It seems you got two guys out there, really rookies. Because I wouldn't consider Joe Burrow a first year veteran. I mean, he played a couple games last year, but I would consider him, even though it's not his rookie year, I would consider it a rookie year, because hopefully we get a full season of him, and that was when I would officially say that he's this season his rookie year, and then Trevor Lawrence obviously in his rookie year. It'd be kind of actually a very interesting game to watch because these two guys were duking it out, in college. So,
yep. All right, Jeff. The next one, the Eagles took care of business last week in Atlanta. They beat the Falcons 32-6. Jalen Hurts, Jeff, is the next MVP, and he's taking the Eagles to the Super Bowl. Let's calm down a little bit here, guys. Jalen Hurts did come out and surprise me last week. Atlanta's not a very good football team, and they were bad last week. They couldn't protect Matt Ryan to save his life. There wasn't much life into the offense, only scoring 6 points. But, I wasn't really big on Jalen Hurts coming out. The Eagles drafted him in the third round. He came in last year, I think, halfway through. I wasn't big on him. I mean, he does not that great of a thrower. He does run and move out in the pocket and run out of the pocket quite a bit, and he can use his legs. But I just think he's a pure passing quarterback. But he looked good last week, and if this guy can prove me wrong, by all means, I think this is more of a team that the Eagles aren't a very good team, the roster wise. They played a horrible Atlanta team, so I think that's really kind of what played into it. I hope Jalen can prove me wrong. I don't think he's going to. Obviously, he's not going to be the MVP this year unless he just goes crazy. But I'm not a big Jalen fan. I don't think he's going to be that great. Sorry, guys that are Eagles fans out there. I had one guy tell me last week to show some Eagles some love on TikTok. But hopefully, he proves me wrong. I don't know what you think of him, but this Eagles team isn't very good on roster-wise, but they had a really good game last week. So let's see if they can keep it going. They play the 49ers coming up this week. I think the 49ers lose this game, but a lot of people are saying this game will be closer than you think. So what are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts and his MVP case, I guess?
I don't know about MVP, guys. It's one game. But I will say this. I mean, the Eagles... I think that there's definitely going to be games where they surprise some people, and I think there's also going to be some games where it's going to be like, okay, well, that's kind of what we're expecting. But I don't. If Jalen Hurts continues to play like this throughout the rest of the season, it's something to think about. Maybe not MVP, but a candidate, sure. But I don't know if anyone is expecting Jalen Hurts to be playing like this for the rest of the season. I don't think anybody would expect that at all. But who knows? I hope this Eagles team have some kind of saving grace after they've had just a complete debacle at quarterback for a while. Even though they won a Super Bowl, I get it, but it was still just on a weird. Dude got hurt. Was balling out. Dude got hurt, and then someone came in, and then it was just like he takes them to the Super Bowl. They win. Awesome. But since then, it's just been an absolute downward spiral of quarterback situations, injuries, drama, all this stuff. And then, come to find out, it's everybody's getting dealt off somewhere and traded off and leaving. And, when it comes to quarterbacks and stuff like that. And I just think that Eagles are in this weird spot, and I think the fans are really grasping for Jalen Hurts to be a person that maybe is going to come in there and actually do something and help this franchise. I mean, I hope so. I'm not going to bet on it, but yeah, I hope that's true.
The Eagles are probably the fastest depletion of a Super Bowl team I think I've ever seen. Usually, if you as a head coach, if you win a Super Bowl, that locks you in for at least 5 years. He made it like 3. They lost. Jalen Wentz got hurt, and Wentz was never the same. And to see this team go from we just beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl to we're probably going to be last in the division, it has been insane. And so. I hope he can come in there and help him out, and that's what they're hoping he can do. But I'm not. I don't think it's going to happen, especially with what they're giving him with the roster wise. But we'll see. We'll see what they can do. The Giants in that division look horrible. I think Washington takes the second in the division. I got Cowboys winning it, so I don't think Eagles have a shot to win it. But they surprised us last week with that. Let's see if they can shock the world next week or this coming week when they play the 49ers. Because if they pull that upset off, it'd be pretty interesting. But next, Jeff, the New England Patriots, after losing the first game of the season 17-16 to the Miami Dolphins, they're missing Cam Newton. Oh, Jeff, they're hurting for Cam Newton to come back and run the ball because he can't throw it no more. complete overreaction. Miami's got a really good defense. These teams know each other. They play hard football. They lost by 1 point. I think they're going to be just fine there with Mac Jones, with the mac and cheese. I don't think they're missing New England, or I don't think they're missing Cam Newton. Cam Newton isn't on a roster. I don't think NFL is really missing Cam Newton right now either. So that's another storyline I heard about, just making jokes about, oh, they miss Cam Newton, and that's obviously false.
No, I don't think. I think that once Bill Belichick makes a decision, he pretty much will stick with it. I don't think he's going to sit there and go, oh, because if really Belichick didn't really want him now, he wouldn't have left. They wouldn't have let him go. So it's just, it was obviously a Belichick decision. Now that Tom Brady's out in New England, I think it's more of a Belichick team than you think. He's pretty much pulling the trigger and making the decisions most of the time. And Kraft really is just writing the checks. So, it's just, it's Belichick's team until he's out and his son takes over or something, but yeah, like I don't think New England's missing him. I don't think Belichick's really missing it. I think he's
the distraction and drama that comes with Cam Newton.
Right. The fact that Belichick has a blank canvas again, to morph somebody into what he sees as a good player is all Belichick really wants. He had it with Tom Brady, and then he had a blank canvas, and he created this person who was a perfectionist and didn't want to make mistakes and all these things. And I think he's trying to do the same thing with Jones. So, who knows though? I mean, you said mac and cheese. Maybe Jones gets traded to Green Bay, and Green Bay sends Aaron Rodgers to New England.
Yeah. hey, we'll add that cheese to that mac. Work perfect combination there.
Oh my God.
All right, Jeff. Well, this next one is probably the closest one to becoming true than the others. I don't know your thoughts on it. Justin Fields should start over Andy Dalton, and that's something that popped in. They threw in of Justin Fields in versus the Rams. The Rams took care of business to 134-14. Justin Fields had a rushing touchdown. They threw him in here or there. He was 2 of 2 passing, but Andy Dalton's the starter, and they continue to stick with Andy Dalton. What are your thoughts on that? And Justin Fields going, what do you think they should do? Give me some information on that.
Oh man. You would think that, Justin Fields, because they did they move up, or did he just fall to them because
he fell in the draft?
There was a lot of, I know the Broncos brought it up. I know their front office brought it up. They brought up the whole epilepsy thing, and I know he said it wasn't an issue. And I'm not saying that is the issue here, but maybe this is a fact that Dalton seems to be connecting a little bit more, maybe with the first team, whether it be in practice or not. Fields maybe still trying to learn, and maybe they're trying to figure out how to adjust the game to fit him a little bit too. So it's weird because it's kind of like I don't know if the Bears are looking at it like we are playoff contenders, so we don't want to risk playing this experiment game right now to see if he's going to be good or not, and instead maybe go with the safer option and a person who's been in the league for a while, who's had some success, and actually I think did well. I think they take a look at the issue that he did pretty well for the Cowboys. Decent, given that Dak was hurt last year, and they actually won a few games without Dak. So maybe they're putting that in consideration. And then obviously, I think personally with some of these teams are seeing what happens on practice field as well too. So I know that's what the Broncos did to evaluate the quarterback situation in Denver. Not to say it's the same thing, but I'm just saying that's how the Broncos did it. But It's up to, it depends, man. I'll say this much. If the Bears start losing and losing and losing and losing, and they're in a hole midway through, or maybe even a little bit past midway through, and there's no chance really for them to be the playoffs, Justin Fields is playing.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is definitely playing over Andy Dalton. And at some point, if that even started happening, I could even see Andy Dalton being benched. You know?
Oh yeah. I mean, when they brought in Andy Dalton, they asked Andy Dalton, "Why didn't you come to Chicago?" And he said, "Because I was promised to be the starter. They told me day one, I am the starter of this football team." Justin Fields fell down to him in the draft. I don't think they expected him to fall, and they got lucky and drafted him. Well, what they can consider would be lucky. I guess we don't know until we figure out what Justin Fields is on an NFL football field. So I think, honestly, the organization, told Andy Dalton, "Hey, you're gonna start." I think Matt Nagy gave Andy Dalton his word. You're going to start. Justin Fields came in, and no one wants to sit their quarterback using a first-round pick and let him learn anymore, right? That's taboo nowadays. Green Bay's done it with Aaron Rodgers, right? From Rodgers to Favre, they're doing it with Jordan Love. There's two different approaches you can take on bringing a guy in like that, and people are eager to see Justin Fields on the floor or on the field. And a lot of fans, and especially Bears fans, are looking at it going, we know what Andy Dalton is. He's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Look, Andy Dalton played good in TCU. He came out of TCU. He went and played for the Bengals. He won 10 games a year, but they never went anywhere in the playoffs, right? So he goes to Dallas as a backup. I think honestly, If I'm a Bears fan, I'm saying throw Justin Fields in right away. I want to see what we got. Andy Dalton, we already know what he is. But looking at it on both sides of the ball, I think Andy Dalton should be the starter. But I almost want to say, Jeff, if they lose to the Bengals this Sunday, that's who they play, is the Bengals. I think the organization's going to feel pressured. I think Matt Nagy will be forced to put in Justin Fields sooner than later. I think Andy Dalton's leash is probably the shortest in the NFL. Or if Nagy continues to play Andy Dalton and they miss the playoffs, let's say they have a 6-11 record or whatever, it just gives the organization an out of Matt Nagy because he didn't start Justin Fields. So it's a tough situation for Chicago when you have a quarterback dilemma like this. It puts a lot of pressure on the head coach to make the right moves at the right times when he feels is correct. And with Matt Nagy not having any success really there in Chicago, I think he is on the hot seat after this season. Actually, he's on the hot seat now, but kind of figuring out that right time of, did we give Andy Dalton enough time? I know I promised him he'd be the starter. When should we put Justin Fields in? Chicago set up really well with their future. I think Justin Fields is going to be a really good quarterback. But right now, that Matt Nagy has a tough decision and has a lot of pressure on him to make the right choice of how many games he's going to give Andy Dalton and when to pull that trigger. So
yeah, and the other thing also is the fans. The fan base can also at times,
they start booing Andy Dalton.
And that happened in Denver. That happened in Denver with Tebow. I think that happened it was with Tebow, because I remember it was just fans were just frustrated, and they were just like, we're tired of it. Like, just throw him out there. And it got to a point where there was even like billboards out that was like in Denver that was like, yes, put him in. Yes. Like, what's the worst that can happen? We're going to be picking number one anyway. Like, it just doesn't matter. Just put him in and see what we have. And I think at some point, excuse me, I had to cough. At some point, the fan base will put some pressure on them if they continue down a downward spiral to a point where fans are just going to get frustrated and go, throw them out there and let's just see what we have. What more? What could that hurt? What could that hurt at all?
Right. Definitely. All right, Jeff. Well, we have the top 5 games coming up into this segment here. And you're doing exactly what I was about to start doing, putting the timestamps. Oh, sorry, we can edit this part out. All right, Jeff, we've got into the top 5 games of week 2. So I looked at the week and I was like, man, let's pick up the top 5. Last week, the top 5 games, we went 4-1, Jeff. So we did really good there, and we see if we can do the same here. So number 1 game I got is the Chiefs versus Baltimore. This game, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, the 2 young stud quarterbacks, future, they're supposed to be battling each other like Brady and Manning, right? You got the future quarterbacks. So Chiefs usually own the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore came off of a bad loss against the Raiders last week, and a crazy game that they lost on Monday Night Football. I've got the Chiefs winning this game. I went back and forth because there's those games where when you look at it, especially divisional games, where you're bound to usually split between the two, or you lose a game you shouldn't. So but I got Chiefs winning. I don't know if Lamar Jackson can keep up with the high-powered offense of the Patrick Mahomes.
Man, if the Chiefs lost to the Browns, I would be like, okay, something's up here.
They should have lost to the Browns.
Oh, dude. Oh, my gosh. Okay.
But
so I think their defense is... I don't know if the Chiefs defense is as good as
no.
And they're going to have to win games with high score. There will be games where that will work, and there will be games where that will not. I don't know. I mean, in terms of Baltimore's defense, I know they've historically have been good. If this comes out into a shootout, I trust Mahomes over Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so I go with the Chiefs. If it's a shootout, it's going to be the Chiefs, man.
Look,
I cannot.
Monday Night Football, the Ravens let Derek Carr throw for 435 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
honestly, Derek Carr is nothing compared to Mahomes. Like, come on. Like, This is potentially to be I think this might be a shootout, but I guarantee if it's a shootout, I will take Mahomes over Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to go with Chiefs on this one.
Right. And
as a safe bet.
Right. The way Baltimore's built is not for shootouts. They're built for good defense. We're going to run the ball. We're going to let Lamar run the ball, and we're going to score, 20-something points a game, and hopefully our defense shuts you down.
And that strategy can work when you control the clock. That's how you beat Tom Brady. That's how you beat Mahomes. That's how you keep them off the field. You do long drives, you drag it out, and you do perfect ball management, ball control, and time possession control. Like, that's just it. And if you want to beat teams like that, then eliminate the problem and allow him to be on the field as less as possible.
Yep, you're exactly right. All right, Jeff, the game number 2, I got the Dallas Cowboys versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Let me get your prediction first on this game, and then I'll tell you mine.
I think this is going to be another slugfest. I think this is going to be another one of those games where it's like the Chargers come out, score, and then let's say something happens with Dallas and they turn it over or they punt. Chargers come back, score again. Now they're up 2 touchdowns. And then here comes Dak. And then he scores. And it's just back and forth. And then the Chargers, maybe they fumble the ball. And then the Dallas Cowboys get it in good field position. And then they score again. And then it's just back and forth. Then the Chargers score. And I think that this is going to be one of those kind of games where it's like, I can see the Dallas Cowboys clawing back in, just like they did with Tampa Bay, and having to fight. This is in LA. I do think this will be a home game. obviously, for the not for the Chargers, for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And so the crowd's gonna be just on fire for Dallas because of where it is. They have a massive fan base in California. So I think, man, it's hard to go against the Chargers in this, man. It's really hard to go against the Chargers because I like the quarterback. And I think he's. I'm gonna go with Dallas just because the Chargers in my division. And I unfortunately had to pick Chiefs in the first one. But I'll go Dallas just to be safe on that and not pick Chargers because the Chargers are my division. So that could have been a coin flip, but I'll go with Dallas.
All right, Jeff. Well, this is going to be an interesting game. One, hopefully, I'm going to watch. Now, I got the Chargers winning this game. I got the Cowboys dropping 0-2. I look, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be missing 5 starters. They're going to be missing their best defensive player. The Washington football team didn't touch Justin Herbert last week. Okay. Chase Young, the defensive rookie of the year last year, who had 7 sacks his first year in the NFL, who eats quarterbacks up, didn't touch Herbert. I think the Cowboys are going to have a hard time getting to the quarterback. And when you leave Justin Herbert back there to throw, you're going to give up a lot of points. The Dallas Cowboys offense, I have no worries of them scoring points. I think this game is going to be like a 35-32 game, 3-point last-minute field goal to win the game. I think Chargers win just because of lack of defense. And let me tell you an interesting stat that I found out the other day, Jeff. The Dallas Cowboys, they haven't won a game unless they've scored over 30 points since 2018.
Oh, my God.
So they are putting a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott to score 30-plus points a game to win. That's one of the things that we had talked about going into this NFL season was the fact that, the one he was like, how much is going to be put on Dak's shoulders? Well, obviously, a lot.
Seems like a lot. And now, even with and we'll talk about that later on, but even with all these new updates that are going on with the Cowboys in terms of issues, it's definitely even more put on his shoulders. And I can definitely see your point too, because I do think that the Chargers their O-line is really good, and ultimately, I think the Cowboys are built with pass rush first, and I don't know how well they're built on contending the pass itself. So it's just like, I think that they'll be able to try and minimize run, but in terms of going up against a quarterback that's going to be slinging it all the time, Tom Brady proved that to be a weakness in the Cowboys. So it's interesting, that this is going to be. That's why I said coin flip. So I was just like,
It's a tough one, and usually I would pick the better quarterback, and Dak Prescott's the better quarterback. But with everything going on with the teams, with the offensive line issues that Dallas Cowboys have, that Joey Bosa is going to be going up against Terrence Steele, and Terrence Steele is not a good offensive lineman. They're going to have to use a lot of Zeke in the backfield blocking, some linebacker or some tight ends chipping to keep him from tearing up the game. So just with all those issues, I think the Chargers will win. And I love Justin Herbert. Watching him play is amazing, and he's going to be, if not already a top 10 quarterback, he'll be up in there next, after the season, I believe. But it'll be one heck of a game. And like I said, it's going to be close. But I think the Chargers win. And I don't worry, Cowboy fans. I still got you predicted to win your division. But you start off 0-2, in my opinion. But Game number 3, Jeff. We got the Titans versus the Steelers, not the Steelers, the Seattle Seahawks. And Seahawks had a good game last week. They demolished the Colts, and the Titans got demolished last week by the Cardinals. They did not look very good at all. So this is a bounce back game for Tennessee. I'm gonna go. I think they do bounce back this week. I think the defense of Seattle's not all that great. I think Derrick Henry is going to be able to get going. And when Derrick Henry is the key to this football team, if he gets going, it opens up Tannehill throwing the ball downfield. Julio Jones to have a better game this week, as he only had like 40 or 50 yards last week in his debut with the Tennessee. Just Russell Wilson can throw the ball a lot, and I'm going against the better quarterback here, in my opinion. I just think Tennessee bounces back this week and wins this football game.
I'm just trying to,
I think it is in Seattle.
Mentalize the man. I like Russell Wilson. So,
I do.
But I think Tennessee will bounce back. I think they're too talented to not. And I think that where are they, in Seattle or?
Yeah, I believe they're in Seattle.
It's a tough place to play. Yeah, but I'll think if it's, especially if it's close, and if the defense steps up and one dimensionalizes this Seattle team, which it seems like the Seattle team is definitely one dimensional, then yeah, I think Tennessee can come out and win, especially if their Titans are successful running the ball, because then that also means that Russell Wilson's off the field a lot more,
right?
As well, because the clock's going to continue to be running. So, yeah, I'll go with Tennessee.
The next game, Jeff, is an interesting one. They got the Bears versus the Bengals. Last week, the Bengals beat the Vikings in overtime. The Bears got demolished by the Rams, so they're looking to bounce back. You got Andy Dalton versus the team that drafted him against the Bengals. I want to say Bengals here, and I hope the Bengals win, but I'm going to go with the Bears. I'm going to go with the Bears on this one. I think they're off. Their running game's really good. Andy Dalton will bounce back this week. He's not playing the number one defense in the NFL, and this defense will be able to put a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow and frustrate him in the pocket. I got the Bears winning this one, even though I hope they lose.
Oh, it's going to be a tie. No, I'm kidding.
A tie. It could be. If you called that would be insane. But
no, I think Bears. I go with the Bears. I go with the familiarity. I go with the veteran tenacity and of this team going up against a very young team, and especially against Joe Burrow. I think that he still has a lot to learn. I think Joe Burrow still is hesitant a little bit, maybe. Just to kind of, rightfully so because of the injury. But I'll go with the Bears. I think that's a safe bet to go with the Bears. I would love to be surprised in this situation personally. But
all right, the next one was interesting because you never know how the Raiders are going to do. Last week they beat the Baltimore Ravens, and then the next week they could lose to the Colts. They're an up and down team. The Steelers beat the Bills last week with tough defensive play. So this one was tough for me because I think the Steelers are going to pressure Derek Carr a lot. So that makes me think the Raiders are going to lose. But like I said, the Raiders could come out. I'm not a big believer in the Steelers offensively with Big Ben. I think the Raiders could outscore them. But I'm going to have to give it to the Steelers. And this one was 50-50 for me. But I think the Steelers' defense is what gets the job done again. It's what got done last week in Buffalo. So that's who I got winning this game. Jeff, who do you have?
Oh, man. I don't trust the Raiders. I don't trust Derek Carr. There's so much. And again, the thing is, it's both of these teams can be untrustworthy.
Definitely.
And this is a weird matchup because it's like two completely flippy flop teams. It's like, well, sometimes we're going to do good. Sometimes we're going to look like trash. And so, based off the production last week, I got to go with the Steelers. I don't see why I wouldn't pick them. I got to go. Definitely, I'll go with the Steelers personally on this one, just based off of production last week.
Okay. Yeah, last week the Steelers didn't play that great of a game on offense, and honestly, if they lost, the Bills should have won. Josh Allen overthrew like 3 wide receivers that would have been touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he was a little off last week, and so I think they should have lost. But that's shoulda, woulda, couldas, and that's not something that usually happens. Something you don't want to dwell on. But
Yeah.
all right, Jeff, it is time for the news headlines of the week. All right, Jeff, we had a Monday night football game this week, and the Giants versus the Washington football team, formerly known as the Redskins. The Giants, they can't get out of their own way and lose the game 30-29. And
Jeez.
sorry, this wasn't Monday night. This was Thursday night. I don't know why.
Thursday night, yeah.
So did you see how it ended, Jeff? Did you see the debacle of the New York Giants?
I watched the highlights. And I was just like, what is going on? And it was like, I mean,
you had a drop pass from the Giants that was a touchdown. You had a 40-yard rush from Daniel Jones that got taken back. So basically Washington was driving down the field they were down 29-27. If they kick a field goal, they win the game. Well, they get all the way down with like no time on the clock. They go for the game-winning field goal. He kicks it and he misses it. You're like, oh, the Giants just won. But wait, Jeff, there's more. The Giants jumped off sides. So they move the ball 5 yards forward. They get one more kick at it, and they make it. They win the ball game 30-29. The Giants lose in heartbreaking fashion. Jones, this is second week in a row. Okay, this is why you don't pay running backs. This is the second week in a row that Daniel Jones, the quarterback, had more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley. He had 95 yards rushing it. Saquon didn't even sniff 100. Didn't come close to 100. I don't even know what's going on with him. But when your quarterback's out running your rushing game, that's pathetic. Especially, it's not Daniel Jones isn't Lamar Jackson. So it's crazy that he's running the ball so much, and I guess people don't really pay attention to it because it's Daniel Jones, and that's why he's rushing for 95 yards. But
everyone, let's not lose sight into the two teams this Giants team faced in their first two games. You had a team with the Broncos who have defense who can definitely shut the run down and clog up the lanes, and then obviously cornerbacks who can swat the ball away and things like that. They took away that run game completely, and so they're definitely there. I knew Saquon Barkley was going to not have a great game. I just had a feeling. I'm like, if this defense is good as everyone's been saying in this area all off season, Saquon Barkley isn't going to do anything, and Jones is going to have a tough time as well. And that happened. And so then what do? They go in the second week, and then what do? They go up against the defense again. It's just it's interesting. Interesting.
Taylor Heineke had 346 yards and 2 touchdowns. I like this kid. He stepped in last year and had to face Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs. They came close to winning that game. This is a guy that has a lot of confidence. He has a lot of gutsy throws sometimes. he can move out of the pocket. He came from the XFL, Jeff. He was on the XFL roster a couple years ago. So I'm interested to see where this guy can do. But he's on a bad team offensively. Their defense is good. It's still a bad football team. These are just two bad teams playing each other for the probably last place in the NFC least, or the Giants probably. But we'll see what happens. But it was just the Giants could not get out of their own way on Thursday Night Football.
No, and mental errors, penalties are mental errors, and I think it's like when they're setting up for a field goal kick, just you don't want to make a mistake.
What's the odds of you blocking it?
Well, the odds are high for you to block, and I get it. Or not, they're slim. Sorry, the odds are stacked against you when you're trying to block a field goal.
I was sick to say, what field goals have you been watching, Jeff?
Field goals been blocking all week, man. Nobody's making them. So yeah, I mean, but you just cannot make some bonehead decision of falling off sides. Like, come on now. Like, that is the worst. That's the worst, especially when the fact that he missed it, and it's just like, oh man.
This is what happens when it's not your team and they make this boneheaded play. There's what everyone's doing. That's what happens when that goes down. So, all right, Jeff. Well, big breaking news this week was Dallas Cowboys' best defensive player, DeMarcus Lawrence, broke his foot in practice. He's out 6 to 8 weeks with that broken foot. Oh, it gets worse, Jeff. As I stated earlier, the Dallas Cowboys are also missing Michael Gallup. He got hurt last week. Randy Gregory's out due to COVID. That was supposed to be their other good defensive lineman, so they're missing two guys to get to the quarterback. Lael Collins, one of the best offensive linemen, is suspended 5 games for missing 7 drug tests, Jeff. Not 1. We're not talking 2. We're not talking 3. We're talking 7, okay? 7 drug tests. He just decided that he didn't need to take them.
Stay off the weed.
And this is a big issue for the Dallas Cowboys, and this is also why I'm going with the Chargers winning the game. They're missing 5 starters. The Dallas Cowboys, Jeff, there's always a feeling like something happens to them every year. Something to give them an excuse, an injury here, suspension there, something. I don't know what it is. Did Jerry Jones really sell his soul to the devil when he said that years ago about give me these 3 and I won't ask for anything else, because something seems to derail this team every year. And every team deals with injuries, right? But it's just something with this team. Something's going on. And, I think Lael Collins, there's nothing in the rules to say you will get suspended, but, dude, you missed 7 drug tests. 7. That's ridiculous. This goes into not giving a damn, right? Not caring. All you got to do is pee in a cup. And after a certain point, the NFL's got us maybe 5 games as a steep price for 7 drug tests missed. But when you're in the program for drugs, right, like Lael Collins is, you can be tested as often as the NFL wants to test you. Doing this, that just shows you don't care. I think it's that shows that to your teammates, to the fan base, to the ownerships, to your head coach, you don't care. So he's got to come out and prove himself after these 5 games. But these losses are big for Dallas, and I think that's another reason they lose the game coming up against the Chargers.
Not only are these losses huge, they're long. 6 to 8 weeks is a long time.
Oh yeah,
That's a lot of games.
That's their best defensive player.
That's a lot of games. That's in this, I feel bad for Micah Parsons because this is going to put more pressure on him, and that's not fair. I think Micah Parsons would do good if he had a wingman on the other side, kind of like Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware, and Von Miller and even Bradley Chubb. You got to have a wingman to take over when you're getting double teamed and stuff like that. And Michael Parsons is going to get double teamed out the wazoo. He's probably not going to have very many sacks if this during these 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, which is going to mess up his statistics and his potential Pro Bowl pick or Pro Bowl possibility, because I think he's a Pro Bowl player. He needs to get that opportunity, and this is not giving him that opportunity whatsoever. I think that not taking 7 drug tests is a little bit much. You couldn't take a timeout due to 1 drug test out of 7, and I'm sure they were scattered. It's not like one day it was like, hey, take this, and then you didn't, and the next day it's not like it was a 7 hey thing. It was like, no, I'm sure it was scattered out like over the course of months, and you still didn't do it. And I think that's a bit insane. You're making a lot of money in the NFL. You're playing in one of a premier franchise team that definitely likes to pay their players, especially defense, which is a very big issue. It was an issue last year for the Cowboys. They had a lot of injuries last year, and here we go again. This is, I gave them credit for the game coming up. I did pick them to win a close game. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to give them a benefit of the doubt in this upcoming game. But this will cause issues down in this later on in the season when you go up against, semi decent offenses. So it's just going to be interesting because I think the offense for the Chargers is going to be good, but I do think the Cowboys can outgun them. But yeah, this is bad. This is one of those things where, again, we're talking about the same kinds of weird things every season for the Cowboys. It is ridiculous that this guy Collins did not take a drug test. Von Miller, I remember, got suspended 5 games for a failed drug test. And he's had to have taken randomized drug tests throughout the seasons over the course of I don't know how many years, and probably still does. And he's taken them. He's never been suspended since then. Never.
It's really not that difficult to pee in a cup.
No, it's not. And it's also putting your team before yourself. It's ridiculous. The injuries are not anyone else. That's not anyone's fault. I get that. It happens. It happened to Jerry Jeudy. And so it's just like crap happens. I get it.
But when COVID is something that you can't,
right. You get it. And they're not going to have people playing out there sick like that. So I get that. But with this whole drug test, that is ridiculous. You are literally being selfish.
Right. And an injury here or there is not bad. But when you start having a cluster of injuries or a cluster of guys out, that's when it can affect your football team.
Yes.
Michael Gallup is a big loss, but you have 2 of the wide receivers that are number 1 wide receivers, so I think that's the least of their worries, the Dallas Cowboys. But Jeff, let's jump into the next one. All right, this is another one of these. Okay. Another one of these. Star defensive pass rusher Zadarius Smith for Green Bay Packers was put on an IR for Green Bay. He's going to miss at least the minimal 3 weeks, maybe more, with a back injury. They were talking about him missing the first game of the season with a back issue, but he decided to play anyways. Now he's out for three weeks or more. This is big concerning for Green Bay. He makes a lot of money. He's our main pass rusher. He's the guy who gets the quarterback. He's a leader on our defense. This is a big loss. We do have Rashawn Gary that can come in and step in, and he's going to have one heck of a season. I believe he's been getting to the point where he can be a starter. I think Preston Smith, the other Smith on the other side of the football, took a pay cut so he could stay in Green Bay. we've got some pass rushers. Rashawn Gary will be a good backup, and we will miss Darius Smith. Hopefully, we won't have to miss him as much with having Rashawn Gary there. But this is a big loss for Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers need their defense to be there, and I think this is a huge problem for them. I mean, he rushed out and then got hurt again, basically, or re-injured.
Yeah, I think he wanted to go, and he didn't have a great game last week. He did hit the quarterback, which they called roughing the passer, which they already said was a mistake.
I thought that was a mistake. Yes.
Big time mistake. But it didn't change the output of the game, so
right.
It's what it is. But so this is something that LaFleur's already talked about. Is we're going to sit him down, they're going to shut him down, and hopefully that rest will give him to get back into getting the amount of snaps they want him to take. So he's a guy that we need, and
I think the light at the end of the tunnel is it's 3 weeks.
Right.
That's not too bad. That's a lot better than 6 to 8. And then obviously, like with Judy, even like with the that's not defense, but with Judy, I mean, the likelihood is they're saying 4 to 6. So I mean, the 3 weeks is, I think, good. Is if you could
a good case scenario.
Exactly. If you could pick any kind of good out of this situation, it's 3 weeks. And I think that's fine.
I forgot to throw Jerry on here. Jerry Jeudy, I thought his ankle was broken. If you watch that play again,
yeah,
I said he snapped that son of a gun in half.
So here's what's interesting about Jerry Jeudy, and this is what a lot of people don't. It's not publicized a lot. People don't talk about it a lot. Jerry Jeudy has rubber band freaking legs. It's insane. I've seen this guy juke in odd situations and his legs to do weird things. If anybody wants to go on YouTube and type in Jerry Jeudy and take a look at his college games, and I'm not so sure about last year too much because we were having issues and stuff like that last year, but take a look at how he moves, and that's a good indication. Like, I know that it seemed like his legs were all jacked, and I thought that too, but then again, I'm like, man, his legs though, he's always just bending, like he's always just, his legs are like rubber out there. It's insane how he can move. And so it kind of makes some sense as to maybe why they didn't break. There's a lot of flexibility that he has in those legs and stuff. So it's just kind of weird. He's an odd entity as a wide receiver. And so I think that may be why it didn't break. I think because he had so much, what is it, like, not dexterity, maybe it is dexterity, but in his legs and move, how he moves them. Maybe that wasn't as bad.
It's really unfortunate for him. I think Teddy Bridgewater would have used him a lot more.
They're real good friends.
Yeah, and I hate to see it. I really like Jerry Jeudy, and so hopefully he makes a quick recovery. But
I don't think they'll rush Jerry Jeudy back, but I think people can definitely expect him to be back at some point during the season. But come back to the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, at least it's not 3 weeks, guys. Like, it's okay. I think he'll be all right, and he'll be back, and he'll be better. And you would rather want a healthy, Darius Smith than not, and especially getting later into the season as opposed to.
One of those lingering issues that he's out one game back and then and so it's just 3 weeks hopefully, and then we'll see him back hopefully playing better on defense because his defense was atrocious last week.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, this is interesting. There's a new in-season Hard Knocks coming. It's going to be with the Indianapolis Colts. It actually airs November 17th on HBO Max. So Hard Knocks, for those that don't know, is a show that takes you behind a team and it does the preseason. It doesn't do in-season stuff. It does preseason. There's stipulations to be on the show because a lot of teams don't like to do it. You can't have made the playoffs the previous year. You've had to had a new head coach, I believe, within 3 seasons. This there seems to be, I don't know any stipulations. I don't know if the Colts agreed to it or what, but there's going to be an in season. You're going to see behind the scenes of an in season type of show, and hopefully we get more drama and more into it, because I think what you get, the preseason one can be kind of boring because you don't get a lot of what you would want behind the scenes and the star players, and they tend to follow the headliners or the rookies coming in. But I'm interested to see this one.
Yeah, like I think this is pretty cool because you get to kind of see, even as the season is still going on, maybe what's going on and what might have been happening early, because this would probably be starting out earlier in the season, and then as it continues on, you'd start seeing it kind of go deeper in and everything else. But I think this is pretty cool, because we always get to see the preseason stuff, and we don't really get to see what goes on in an everyday circumstance when it comes to actual season stuff. So it'll be interesting to see like how they break things down, what happens after a loss. That'd be interesting. Stuff like that. So, and the Colts are kind of obviously rebuilding, and there's a lot to, hopefully kind of get back to the way they were before in their glory days. And so I think that, this is a pretty cool thing. I'd love to see what they come up with next season and what other teams they bring in there, and so that people can get a chance to look at how their team is. And it would be kind of interesting to see, if Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, like maybe Green. I don't know how the stipulation. I know like in the preseason the stipulations are different of how they film, or why they film and why they pick the teams. But I don't know if the stipulations are the same when it comes to this in season stuff. So if there's not a whole lot of stipulations, I'd like to see that. How the Green Bay Packers are in the middle of the season and kind of Jordan Love and all this stuff, and I think that would be kind of cool.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. I think also wherever Aaron Rodgers ends up would be a good one too. Denver. I seriously think he ends up in Denver next season, and I think it's I give it a 95% chance. But no, I think it's great. I think this is a good idea. As long as you're not giving out they're not filming the playbook, giving out any of that information. Whoops, my bad. Here you go, guys. But no, I think it's fantastic to get a behind the scenes look of your team. So
yeah, that's cool.
All right, Jeff, it's college football. Week 3 this week starts today. So we have not a lot of good matchups, it doesn't look like. Alabama plays number 1. Alabama plays Florida at number 11. That should be a blowout. You have the only other teams that are ranked that are playing each other is number 19 Arizona versus BYU at number 20. They're ranked number 23. That should be a decent game. Not anything else on the board as far as ranked teams go. Honestly, and I know you don't really pay attention too much to college football, but they just need to give Alabama the championship. There's not another team that really stacks up with them offensively. Clemson's not there yet with their new quarterback taking over from Trevor Lawrence. You got Georgia has a really good defense, but offensively they've been struggling up against the good teams. So we'll see as the season goes on, college football wise. But I just think Alabama's the favorite, and I don't think it's close. So that kind of makes it can kind of make it a boring season if you already know who's going to kind of win it. But look for those upset games. I'm hoping BYU can win tonight. So, but let us know on here if you're any college fans out there and who you kind of go for and root for during the season. So, all right, Jeff. Well, I think it's come down to that time when we end the show with what's in your locker this week, Jeff.
Man. It's fall. It's starting to get fall here now. So yesterday we kind of got to go and kind of go for a walk, get outside for a second because it got warm this summer, unusually warm. And so, it was, I think, like 66, sunny and breezy. It was very crisp, so it was nice. And I think it's going to get a little warmer today and sunny, and then it's going to go into the 70s and for the remainder of the week and stuff. So we're starting to see the fall colors here too. That kind of it was a little bit delayed because of the heat. So everything's starting to get yellow and not yellow, but yellow, and then orange and stuff like that. So
must be nice.
And yeah, it's so pretty cool to see all that. And then the smoke kind of cleared out. I think that big fire in California is almost contained now. So pretty close. I think it's 70 something percent. It's probably almost 80 now at this point. So that's good. We're not seeing any of that smoke anymore. And so yeah, we're just gearing up. We're gonna go meet my my mother-in-law and her husband in Aspen, and like I think we're gonna go Sunday, and then we're gonna come back on Wednesday next week. And so not Sunday this weekend, but next. And so yeah, like we're gonna go there for a few days and just I think we're gonna go do a couple of hikes and kind of just explore Aspen. We've never been there, so it's something different for us. And yeah, I mean, gonna watch. Probably gonna order some Wingstop tomorrow for the game.
Nice, yes,
because I have to. I made some wings last week, but they weren't great. They were all right, but I'd rather just order some. And so that and then that, because I think that game starts at 3 here, so it's going to be against Jacksonville. I'm looking forward to that. I think that we are.
That's a win.
I'm pretty sure we'll win that game. I would be surprised if we lost. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. My wife and I have been playing some more 64 a lot. So we've been playing some. There was NBA Showtime, which is like NBA Jam. It's just like it's like NBA Jam, but with a NBC flair. So you get the that kind of thing. So, but it has the same guy from NBA Jam talking. He makes all the little comments and stuff. And so yeah, we were playing that, and I actually at one point I think she picked the Kings. So it was the Kings. The Kings back in the day, Divock and all the I forgot. It wasn't Bibby. Bibby wasn't on the team. Bibby wasn't on the team.
The little team.
And then I picked, and she didn't know who I was picking, and she was like, "Oh, okay." And I picked the Lakers.
Oh,
and I was like, and it was Kobe and Shaq. And she was like, "What the?" I was like,
domination.
I was like, "Sorry, I forgot Shaq was on here. I thought Shaq was on the Magic." But yeah, like so we played that, and that was pretty cool. And she beat me a couple of games, and I beat her, and then I played some Mario Kart and. What else did we play? Because that cartridge has every game on there. So yeah, played some of that, and then I think we played a Royal Rumble, WCW versus NWO.
I love that game. That game is good. No Mercy's the best.
No Mercy's the best. Yes. And so yeah,
I need to buy one. It's just I need to get it, dude. 64 is one of my favorite
dude.
consoles.
Once we got it, and we went to a place, and the guy's like, "This cartridge has every game," and I'm like, "What?" Which was shocking. For some reason, No Mercy doesn't work. Like it tries to load up and then it just goes black. And I'm like, dang it. So I got to go find No Mercy. But we did get to play WWF 2000, WrestleMania 2000. So that's on there and stuff. But yeah, we just chilled out, played that stuff, and I haven't really done a whole lot. Just trying to chill out. I think we got to go get some clothes and stuff again today for our trip to Aspen. So just been chilling out, man. I've downloaded the Call of Duty beta, open beta. We need to get our accounts linked up so we can all get that going. But yeah, like I played a couple of matches in the 4 or 2v2. I think it's 2v2. It's some kind of weird map. It's like you start out and you buy your guns, and then you go in there. It's like teams of 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was pretty cool. I like it so far. It reminds me of Modern Warfare a little bit, but with the World War II flair. And I got attacked by dogs yesterday. Somebody had a power up or something, and all these German Shepherds came out of nowhere.
What?
I was like,
I haven't seen that one yet.
So yeah, that's cool. That's something I'm looking forward to. I'm looking also, I downloaded Splitgate. I know a lot of people have been playing Splitgate. That's been like a big free to play game that people have been kind of going crazy over. It's kind of like Halo, I think. So I'm going to try that out and see if it's any good. And then, that's pretty much what I've been up to. Working. I created a cover for my wife's book. I don't know if I said that last week or not. Which is pretty cool. She's put together a poetry book, and so I made a cover for it, and I think I got to make the back of it. But yeah, I did that and doing different things to try to see what else we could do with podcasts. And other than that, that's all in my locker this week. What about you, Brian? What's in yours?
You sound busy, but with all kind of like relaxing stuff, like playing the game stuff. But I bought Vanguard, Call of Duty Vanguard. After playing that one beta, I already knew I was going to like the game way better than I do the Cold War game. I think that one was garbage, but I didn't know it didn't come out till November, so I can't. The game don't come out till November. I'm like, well, dang! If I knew that, I wouldn't have bought it so early. But
we got Far Cry coming out soon.
Yeah, we do have Far Cry coming out before, so that's gonna be good. We definitely need to link our accounts. Me on my side, I obviously got football going on. I'm running the Survivor game, which you need to send me your pick. No one sent me their pick this week, so I got to send some reminders this week for that. Work's been busy. We can never stay fully staffed. Always something happens. We have 2 routes right now with no drivers, and so that's been fun. But yeah, and football, man. So each week I'm like, what can I make for football games? What do it's got to come with some food. So I like the wings there from Wingstop idea. But last Saturday we had a good time. It's kind of crazy. My brother-in-law came in, and him and his wife, and they brought 2 friends, and me and my wife, we all went to Six Flags with no kids. They opened at noon. We got there at noon. We had a good time. We actually bought meal plans, and we had drinks all day. Came with drinks all day and 2 meals and a snack, and so it was a good time. We were able to ride all the big rides and do everything we wanted. And it was the first night of their Halloween season. And when it gets later, it starts about 7. They have like fog machines, and they have haunted houses, and they had people running around to try and scare you. So the park closes at 10. It was about 9 o'clock, Jeff, and we were like, let's go get our funnel cake. We all wanted a funnel cake as our snack and go from there. Well, the funnel cake place is right by the exit, basically. So we get our funnel cake, we start eating it, whatever, we're chilling. It's about 9:30, 9:15, somewhere in between there, 9:20ish. And we see this big crowd of people walking towards us, like towards the exits. And I'm like, what's going on? We still have like 30 minutes before the park closes. Why is everyone leaving? I was like, maybe they wanted to, beat the traffic. I don't know. So we're like, let's go ahead and just bounce. So we ate our funnel cake and we left. Well, as we leave the park, all these cops pull up, and we're like, oh, something happened in the park. Something happened here.
Brian did something. Everybody.
Yeah. Derailed all the roller coasters. Same thing.
Yeah. Brian was streaking.
So some guy was like, yeah, a bunch of fights broke out. I'm like, what? What the heck? So we got in the car. We had a good time. We went home, and we get home. It was like midnight by the time we got home. And my aunt texted me, said, "What happened at Six Flags? Well, we knew you were there. What's going on?" I'm like, I don't know. We knew something happened. Well, it turns out the next day, I'm trying to figure out what happened. I'm looking it up. I don't see any kind of news situations on it, but apparently a big fight broke out. They had 60 people arrested. There's a YouTube video of the fight that posted up, and it's just mayhem. And from what I gather, some people got spooked by those people running around with the masks. They didn't like it. They threw a punch, and then it led into an all-out brawl.
Oh, God.
60 people arrested. I'm like, that's a lot of people. And we were at that actual spot waiting to get in a roller coaster line right before it happened. We were like 5 minutes from being in the middle of this crazy scuffle and fight. So that was pretty crazy to almost be in it. But but we had a good time, a fun time. It's the first time I've been to Six Flags in ages, and we closed the place down, so that was fun. We were able to go and pretty much there was not a lot of lines in the beginning, so we were able to ride all the big ones, the Titan and Batman, Mr. Freeze, all the good stuff. So we had a good time. I highly recommend it. To go out there. I don't know about getting in a 60-man fight, but
why not? Let's add it. Let's add another 40, and we got a battle royal going on.
Right. Just and the fog machines. I'm sure it looked like entrances from the WWE, but.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's like, come on now. Like, you go there, there's going to be people, there's going to be, it's Halloween.
Right. If you don't want, I heard it was because their kids got scared, and I'm like, well, don't take your kids to the holiday in the park, trick or treating time, Halloween time. I don't know, but yeah, it is crazy. So, other than that, I've been playing. Well, I bought the new Madden, and it sucks like usual, but I bought it only because it's the last time I'll be able to play with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think I've said that before. And that's pretty much about it. I met a new friend of mine, our new buddy in our neighborhood, but he's a Bears fan and he has an Xbox. So I said, dude, that's two strikes. You got one more and you're out, man. I don't know if I can handle a third one. But no, he's pretty cool. And we actually just met him yesterday. So him and his wife. But does
he play COD?
He does.
I think that's cross-play.
It is cross-platform. We talked about that already.
Yeah.
So I'll have to jump on with him sometime. So, but yeah, that's about it over here. We got the kids in school, and so other than that, that's about it. It has been a pretty mild week. Just looking forward to obviously football season this weekend, and making some good food. I'm in a cooking mood lately. I'm actually making some homemade enchiladas tonight. I've never made them before. These ones. I'm making homemade hand scratched brownies that I've never tried before. I'm not much of a baker, but I wanted to try these brownies. And then Sunday morning, I'm making homemade biscuits and gravy with actual homemade biscuits. So I told the wife, I was like, I'm in a cooking mood this weekend, so it's gonna go down over here in the Watson household, food wise.
Yeah, man. Like my mom, she makes stacked enchiladas, which I think are like a New Mexico staple. So they do the red sauce, which she gave me some of her red sauce, and I helped her with it. So she boiled the red chilies, and then she kind of puts them on the grill for a little bit and kind of
gets them
blackens them up a little bit, and then
fire roasted.
Yeah, and then she they're dried, so they crisp up a little bit, and then she puts them in the pot with some water and just kind of softens them up, and then puts them in the blender, and makes the red chili sauce. And
I've made red enchiladas before. I'm making green tonight, and the sauce is just a green enchilada sauce, but I'm throwing some different things in it, but to make it creamy. But I've made some red sauce before. I didn't do the chilies, but the red sauce I had was different, but it was good. And let me tell you guys something, okay? So me and Jeff, we go way back to middle school, and Jeff is Italian. He has Italian in his family, and his mom can cook, okay? His mom used to make homemade lasagna and made us sometime back in the day. And let me tell you what, that's some good stuff. So when you talk about your mom making homemade enchiladas, stacked it gets my mouth watering.
She's starting. I think she's starting her. So my family. My father is Italian. My mom is Spanish. So she and her family's from New Mexico, so so we have family members in various parts of New Mexico, Carlsbad and Silver City and Albuquerque, and so and my dad's family, most of them live in Texas now, but some of them live in Rochester, New York, and in Virginia, I think. And so my dad's family, they have my grandfather has a whole cookbook that he wrote years ago. They have it. I told my dad I want to update it to where it's all digital. and then and distribute it to the family and stuff, so we all have it in case something happens and the book goes into a fire for some reason or whatever.
Right.
But
they drop it in the pot of water. Oh no.
But so that's one. But my mom learned a lot from my grandmother, like especially how to cook Spanish food and stuff. So like she has her friends, her girlfriends come over from work, and they're gonna do like a whole spread. Like my mom takes the table out, she moves the couch back, and they put tables, large foldable tables, and they all start making homemade tamales.
Oh, dude. Right up my alley, man. My wife loves tamales too.
Dude, she makes homemade tamales. Does all of it right then and there, and they make a bunch, dude.
Dude, you got two of the best food like families, like Spanish. I love Mexican food is my favorite food of all time. And then Italian, you throw both. Oh man, me and my wife consider ourselves foodies. We love to have good food, and like who doesn't? But like we will our dates are usually somewhere dinner, really good dinner, and then a movie. So we love food and. Dude, food goes to the soul, man. It's you can't you're only on earth for a little bit, man. So you might as well enjoy. Food is a staple. You gotta have it. I tell my wife all the time about. I said, I know we won't need to eat in heaven, but I hope there's food. I hope there's food because man, it's so good.
Speaking of that, yesterday, my wife and I went out to eat to get some dinner, and then we were coming home. And as I'm coming home, I'm like, man. And there's this guy. So at our apartment complex, right at the very front, they have various food trucks that come sometimes. And so they'll send you an email. They'll be like, hey, by the way, such and such is here. If you guys want to come down and grab something.
That's cool.
There was a guy that had a portable smoker, dude.
Nice.
And it was Texas barbecue. So this guy was out here, and it's some local business, a local guy, and he had his truck, and then he had this massive portable smoker that I guess he was hauling with his truck. And I was like, that's incredible, dude. It was so big. It looked like the ones you would see at like the restaurants. And I'm like, how the hell, dude, it took almost it took about like it almost, if it was any bigger, it would have prevented cars from going into the actual like parking area. And so I was just like, dang. And people were just droning that thing, dude. I was like, wow. I was like, they really hit that out of the park.
Did you taste it or?
I didn't, because we just ate. So I was like, damn it. They didn't tell me that soon enough. I would have gone down there.
We'll have food trucks come to our neighborhood. Like they come to the pool and they'll set up. And we had one. I almost went. I should have. It was a lobster place. And they still they had lobster rolls and stuff. And I'm like, man, I really want to go. But I didn't end up going. But it's pretty cool if they do that in our neighborhood. I was like, heck yeah, dude. I love food trucks.
Dude, yeah, there's a food park that Allie and I want to go to in Fort Collins, which isn't far. It's like 20 minutes from here or something. But like, and it's like a food park, which we got so spoiled in Oregon, because it was just so they were so plentiful.
All right,
like it was like you didn't go anywhere without seeing food truck parks. They were everywhere, and so yeah, like. So that was pretty cool. I was like, we were talking about that. So I was like, yeah, that popped up in my head because I was like, oh man, that was a genius idea. Portable smoker and just have the guy out there. Man, he's going to be out there all season during football. There's a big college, CU is playing. And so there's a big game going on this week at CU. So I know there's going to be a lot of people going to. Hopefully that guy comes back. People are going to be drove in that thing again.
Well, I told you there's some Bronco fans around here, and they do a pool party to watch the games, watch party, and I might have to catch one of them when my Green Bay's not playing.
You probably could go over there when it's the Cowboys. I think they play Cowboys week 6 or something. Yeah, something like that.
True. So, but I'm like, I'll have to join up because I'll get on here and talk. I don't care if I'm not a Denver Bronco fan, but I mean, I'll come over and have a good time. But food and football, man. That's what Sundays is. Well, church and food and football.
Especially this time of year, you know?
Dude, yeah.
It's that crisp, cool air, and it's like, man, I love this time of year, man. It's perfect.
Yeah, they don't get that here in Texas. Like, we have a low front, and it's like 93 for high. So, you know, it's it's not the best, but... All right, man. Sorry, we got a little derailed there a little bit, but you know, all's good and fun. If you want to reach out and ask us more questions about our personal life, feel free to. You can email us at outSpokenSports@gmail.com. We're on TikTok at Outspoken Sports. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We are everywhere you can find us. Our podcast is on Buzzsprout. You can find us on Apple. You can find us on Google Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio. So we are everywhere, and we're hoping to get more likes and follows. And I'm getting some more likes on TikTok, and I'm actually having some conversations with people, which is nice. I want to have that that's awesome. Fan, or you know, whatever you want to call it.
And everybody also, I am going to be breaking up the episodes up a little bit each week. And so what I'll do is I've been time stamping every time we've got to a certain section that I felt was a good time to kind of split up. And so we will basically have smaller videos of topics. Maybe you would rather, want to just see that topic as opposed to the whole thing on YouTube. The whole thing will be on YouTube, but the smaller audio episodes will be like snippets, like the headlines and that kind of stuff. So that way, it's more content to see, and you can watch some stuff. Maybe you would rather just hear about that as opposed to watching a whole hour or 20 minutes of an episode.
Right, and I'm pitting my predictions. I'm doing a weekly predictions of the schedule and who I think is going to win on TikTok, and then I'll share that video everywhere else. But trying to get in on the TikTok game now that that's started, but I haven't done any funny videos. I wish there was a TikTok class to show you how to do all the freaking things that they do on there. But it's kind of fun to get on there and do those things. But
yeah, you did one with the basketball. I saw that one with at Six Flags.
Oh yeah, yeah. Won me. Well, they went and rode the water ride, and I didn't want to ride the water ride because I've done that before. And then I walk around with soggy feet and get blisters. I was like, I'm not going to. Well, the line was quite long for it, so I'm just sitting there. I'm staring at the basketball hoops, and I was like, I'm gonna go play this. And yeah, I won me basketball. So. I'm like, if you go to Six Flags over Texas and you don't come home with one of these basketballs, did you really even go? So it's quite funny, I thought. But
yeah.
All right, Jeff. Well, enjoy the rest of your Saturday and the weekend, guys. Hopefully you enjoy it the same. Take time to rest, watch up for football, have some good food, and look for our shows Tuesdays and Fridays usually. And
I might do might do some live streams soon with some games as well. So keep a tune out for the Twitch channel as well, because I might do that. I definitely want to play some more COD beta tonight. So
it should be already on me, right? Because I played the first beta and I pre-ordered the game. So unless I have to go on there and download,
I think that you definitely do have access to it as well. Okay. So cool. maybe Brian and I will hop on. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully. We need to. We haven't done it. We haven't played in a long time, but
we haven't. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, like I said, enjoy your weekend, and feel free to reach out.
Take care, everybody.
God bless.